Alright folks, so just to kind of bring you up to speed on what's been going on. Where we left off last night, we cut the aluminum plate to make a grill for the lower insert here of the tractor, and so now I've currently got that masking taped in place. And then from this side I marked where I want my mounting holes to be. Hopefully I did. I reached a pencil in there and felt like I was drawing on something. Alright people, welcome back. Episode 4 coming at you live. Let's get out in that garage and work on that tractor, because we got to get going. Snow's about to fly. Now this is my bracket that I made for the front of the seat to attach to the original bracket, and so you can see across the back that U-shaped one, that was the original one I made. And then I made another U-shaped one with some slots that kind of just captures that little post that comes out of the side, and then it gets pushed in from the front, and then it's bolted down right there. I tried to break this thing apart by hand like I do with everything I weld, and not going to break that anytime soon. So I'm going to go ahead and set that back up in there. We got a special guest out in the garage today. That's P-Bear. She wanted to follow me out here. Let's look over our list real quick. I made this list with this crude illustration about 2 weeks ago now probably, and none of this has gotten done. So I've got head and tail lamps. Tail lamps are crossed off. Chute rotator plan B. We'll probably work on that a little bit today. Oil cooler not done. Interior panels are not done. Side window is not done. Loose engine panel, that's still loose. Carbon choke linkage, haven't even thought about it. Got to put that sun visor in. Get the oil temp and pressure gauge going. Think about replacing that valve cover with the homemade oil cap. Repaint the hood and snow thrower with pour 15. Probably won't actually do that, but it's fun to think about. Find oil filter or rebuy today, it says. Well, couldn't find it, so I rebuyed it. And we got Sten's Parts Company slapped their sticker on a Kohler oil filter, and so this should be the fix there. And it's a performance oil filter, you know, high level stuff there. What I'm trying to do here is figure out how I'm going to lay out my hydraulic lines, because I want them to pass through this plate and have those quick disconnects at this plate, but we need to figure out where to put those, or where the best place to put those will be. Let's see what we got. Hold on to that. Thank you. So I need to top up the trans hydraulic fluid at some point, and so I bought a couple of these. I don't know if either of them is going to work exactly, but I can probably get something going from one of them. These are a slippery peat fluid pump. This one fits quart bottles, this one fits gallon bottles, and basically it's kind of like a hand lotion dispenser, but you can use it to pump automotive fluids out. This, once it's actually bolted down in here, should be a lot sturdier. Oh, that thing's heavy. Okay. Some wires in there like that. Yeah. Alright, so we got that out of the way. Let's give this moving blanket a shake, and then if I know this dog as well as I think I do, she's probably immediately going to lay down on it. You can see her going for it already. I need that table you guys are sitting on to be cleared off so that I can weld atop it. This is now my welding area / workbench / paint shop. Welding and paint booth, I guess would be a better thing to call it. Where we're at on this is trying to mount this Wolverine hydraulic cylinder to spin this chute left and right. And so what I got set up over here looks a little hokey currently, but basically what I'm doing here is mocking up a bracket that hydraulic cylinder can ride on this side. But see, on this end, we're going to just mount to this ball, okay? But on the other end, we need this end to be able to extend out, so we can't just mount to that ball. So what I'm going to have to do is make a bracket that kind of like cradles this. I was thinking maybe even hold it on with a muffler clamp or something. exhaust clamp. But we'll see on that. I'm not sure how that side's going to go just yet. What I have here is 4 pieces of steel tubing stacked up, and you know, this looks pretty hokey right now, but I think it's actually going to work. So my caveman brain came up with this: up, over. Now if you look at it, it kind of looks like somebody's doing this, right? Down, believe it or not. So I'm just gonna one glove Michael Jackson this. Should be fine. Let's go ahead and turn our little Harbor Freight welder on. It's on minimum. Wire speed is set at about, it's about 6. Ooh, she turned a pretty blue color on that side. I think she was hot. Yeah, we got a little piece of plate that's literally the perfect size to go right there. And that can receive our mounting hole. Which there's already a threaded hole in this thing for that. I swear I just heard a coyote howl and I got the door open out there. It's kind of scary. That's what I heard. A snow thrower there, and it's even threaded for some kind of bolt. So with any luck, maybe we can even find the right thread bolt that goes in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount that 4 tubular riser thing I just welded up to that side of this. Weld it on there. Then I'm going to drill a hole here. Try to find a bolt that'll fit that. If not, I'll just drill it out and bolt it with a bigger bolt, which might be a better idea anyway. But then I'm also going to drill and bolt it there. So we need this thing to be sturdy and not rocking, you know, left to right. Yeah, that's that bracket I made over there. Definitely nothing pretty. It's just a couple pieces of plate steel welded together. And I might revise on that. It's going to have a pretty easy life. It's, you know, it has to basically do this much resistance, which is pretty much effortless. So, and I'm sure that thing is probably rated to lift thousands of pounds or something crazy, you know. So. Yow, is that thing extremely hot. You know what someone needs to make? Maybe they already do and I just don't have one. A C-clamp that stands up on the bottom. So you can... Don't be stealing my ideas now. That's a $1 million, easy $1 million idea there. Standing C-clamp that assists you in, you know what, steal my idea and make it and send me one for free. Alright, so if I had to guess, I'd say that's not going anywhere. You know, I'm using a Harbor Freight flux core out here, zapping this stuff together. It's going to do what we need it to do. And once I get all the fitment and all that right, I'll take the grinder to it and spiff it up a little bit. I forget the distance. You know, let me scratch my face with this. God dang it, dummy. I need a new one of these. This was actually given to me by a great friend of mine. But the igniter is worn out. I wonder if maybe there's like serviceable parts in it. I've just been kind of, I think it was given to me 3 or 4 or 5 years ago or so, and I've just kind of been using the snot out of it. Basically, we're just looking to heat this up enough so it's easier to bend. We don't need it to be cherry red or anything. This is pretty thin steel. Alright, let's see what that gains us. And we're going to work kind of quickly before it cools. And we just want to kind of roll that around. Just leave your thumb on the part where you were holding the torch. Yeah, you see it wants to slip down to the smaller diameter part, and that's okay, because that's where we want this to start to bend. Well, let me think. I think we need to get more heat on the subject. And I think we need a better way to clamp that in. That little Well, you know what just occurred to me? We are going about it just all wrong as usual. This will work. I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. So basically we're going to stuff this in this hole here, like so. And we're going to poundulate that whole thing down with a hammer. Got a little ways to go yet. I think that should be about where we want it. Right, but from here, we should just be able to start cranking down on this. And it might take some great force. It might even come down to a point where I got to go get some a pipe to put on here or something. Let's come down a little bit more. Square back up. But yeah, basically what we're looking to make is a bracket that'll pinch this cylinder, or pinch around it. Pinch-a-roni. This is what we ended up with here for the stacked bracket, is I whacked the length of that down, and this is the piece of steel that I was bending up. This is basically just it's flat stock steel, and I bent it around a old hydraulic cylinder that's like a spare for this thing. Used it kind of just as like a guide because I didn't want to potentially mess up the good one. And so now this is going to go around the free end of the hydraulic cylinder. We're going to kind of line it up where it needs to go. I'll mark some holes where I want them in this bracket here. I'll drill those, then we'll transfer those holes down to the arm, drill them to the arm, and then we got to attach the arm, or make holes to attach the arm to the snowblower. We're not actually attaching this to the snowblower today, because once all is said and done, I am going to give it a little hoot of paint. That's all. So let's step back into the paint room. We'll toot some paint on this real quick. I have a better feeling about this than the windshield wiper. Brackets are both welded up. Brackets are both painted. This one's a two-piece, because that's how it ended up. So anyways, guys, thank you as always for watching. I gotta go in and get cleaned up and wind this night down. As we speak, as I film, as of this absolute second, it is snowing outside, and this thing is not running, and it's not ready to blow snow. But anyways, where we left off last night actually, I was out here till like 10:30 last night. Can't remember which, but I know it was late. I made this bracketry to secure the left-hand side if we're sitting in the vehicle. The left-hand side of the hydraulic cylinder on front that I want to rotate my chute left and right. Now, I'm going to touch this up first and foremost because I forgot to paint the bottom of the bracket, and this one apparently I must have went blind while applying the paint, and so we missed a couple spots. So we'll hit the bottom of this, touch that up, and then while that's drying, there is plenty of other work to do. Let's try to yank this oil cooler off. I know it's going to happen. These hoses are going to come off violently, and it's going to splash me in the face with oil. Yeah, that ain't coming off, dude. These are like going to have to cut them off kind of deal. Son of a monkey. That one came up. They just have a very long stem on them. I'm not off the stem over there. Alright, well, don't be spilling oil on me. We still got to get this one out. Maybe my needle nosers will facilitate this a little better than that big freaking thing. Yeah, like I said, these are going to come right off and not be problematic at all. But that Mighty Vac, not only did it drain the pan This oil cooler's bone dry. What was I doing? Oh, I was harvesting those clamps off this oil cooler. Now, of course, we got to run them back the other way. So it looks like those hoses are going to fit. Now, the older I get, the less I'm trusting my eye these days. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks like it. Yeah, that wasn't bad at all. I was kind of dreading taking this thing apart because the hoses seemed like they were going to be absolutely brutal. But anyways, again, like I said in the first video or second video or third video, basically what I want to do is mount this thing here, put a fan on. Tape measure in this. I'm like, oh, you know, I think it'll fit. I'm eyeballing it up. Look at that. So those two black tabs are part of the oil cooler, and then all the white painted stuff and unpainted stuff is the little bracket I made for that switch housing. You can see it balloons out at the bottom. It's got a variety of holes drilled in it. You know, it's nothing fancy, but I just kind of flexed that tab a little bit by hand and pushed it in there, and it's literally holding on. So I'm thinking what I might do. Now, I don't want to attach this here permanently, at least not yet, because I don't know how well this is going to work or if it's going to work at all. Let's see if we can clamp these new lines on to the existing equipment for a moment. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I should get some new hose clamps for that, you know? No, dude, not at all. Not at freaking all. So now I got a whole pack of baby hose clamps for future projects, in case I'm ever putting on an aquarium pump or something like that. We can use that. Try to look at the silver lining of everything, you know? I don't know. I just work here. Not real hard, but I'm here doing stuff. So we'll scoot that guy in place a little bit, get it down where we want it, and then we'll release the hounds. Now, I was looking at the oil for this thing and it said to run 10W40 in it. I couldn't find 1040 at the store, so I ended up picking up, I think, 1030. Yeah, got some 1030 Rotella T4. That'll work. It's oil. I don't care. Oh, Earl is Earl. Alright, so I got the hoses for the remote oil filter housing are off, and that's what that looks like there. It's actually a pretty cool little piece of kit, but we don't need it on this. I mean, what we got here is a garden tractor. So that certainly ain't coming off. What I need is a very small pipe wrench. Got one of those 10 freaking years ago, and I don't remember anything about it. I need this to break loose. At least I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna get a pipe wrench on that. Okay, Mario, get Luigi over here and we'll get the pipe wrenches on an oil filter housing. The key element to this whole thing here is going to be tying this ram here to this chute, okay? And so this thing comes out pretty far. I can't pull it all the way out because it's under like vacuum, but it's got a 10-inch stroke, so it's going to come out, you know, somewheres like that. And that's quite a bit of travel. I mean, when it's basically coming out almost to the edge of the snow thrower chute here or whatever, but and it springs back into place violently because, like I said, it's under vacuum. And you're probably not supposed to do that to it, but I don't care. It's mine. I'll do it anyway. But so basically what we need to do is we need to figure out a way to tie this to that. Now, how I have this set up now, obviously that is fully retracted, and I have this thing about as far this way as I would want it to go, pointing in this direction. Now, the whole purpose of this is so that I can hit the lever in the cab, and when I apply hydraulic pressure to this, it's going to push out. And so if we can bring this with it, we can get this to turn. And so I would like to get as much travel out of it as I can. I would like to be able to go pretty much like to there, to the right, and then to about there to the left. What I have to make the connection is just the length of this steel rod here. just what does it say? 3/8 plated steel rod, 3 feet. Does that fit in there? Sure enough, fits nice. So what I was thinking was we can bend up on this guy and make an arm. So how many holes in are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 holes in. And we would be in the 6th hole. You know, that'll allow me to blow the snow where I want, because the snow just doesn't fall out of the end of there. This thing shoots snow like 50 feet. Let's put a bend on this, weld a washer on the bottom, have a washer that is loose on top, and then drill this for a either a cotter pin, or I just got like these, I forget what kind of pins there. This is the steel bar that I bent that's going to connect point A to point B for this Shoot Rotational System 2000 that I'm rigging up. But yeah, so all I got to do is weld 2 washers on it, one here and one there. I think this might actually work, guys. How many times have I said that throughout the course of this project? But I'm like excited because I think this might actually work. If we can get this, I think I can. I mean, if I can devise a homebrew hydraulic chute rotation system, why can't I make a windshield wiper work, you know? I just don't get it. So what I've done here is I've just obviously laid out that rod on this piece of leather that's going to catch fire, and I've got a washer held in place just with a pair of vice grips, and the vice grips aren't clamping the washer to the rod, they're just holding it upright. And now I'm going to fill that with booger welds all the way around, and then I'll do the other side, and then we'll have a mostly complete connecting rod. Alright, I think that side's good. Let's give it a flip. The test will be to take the vice grips off. Yeah. She on there. She's on there good. Ooh, that's very hot. You know it's hot when you can immediately burn yourself through a thick leather glove. I'm going to let this cool because it is very hot. Now today, not any other day, today, we are going to get this tractor going, driving, shooting snow. What I'm doing now is trying to get everything I want to do under the hood done, so that we can get it buttoned up and get the hood back on. So that's going to include changing this valve cover and fuel pump. And the reason I want to do that is this cap that came on here was put on by the previous owner, or one of the previous users of this engine, and I'm assuming they either lost or messed up the original oil cap, and so they put this little pipe plug, cap plug kind of thing in there, and it works fine for a seal as far as the seal goes, but it's kind of a pain in the butt behind to get off, and you know, so it can make it difficult when you just need to top up your oil. So I'm going to put a different valve cover on that comes with a new cap. At least hopefully that's what's in this box over here. I haven't opened it to verify. Now this is what we got here. We got a new valve cover, that system. But it's got a new fuel pump. Feels like it springs up and down fine. Parts Zen maintenance kit. This one we might have to reposition because I got it shooting straight up. Probably easier once it's mounted. So let's go ahead and poke a gasket in this thing, Pocahontas. Before I put that in, why don't we be smart? Since this is wide open and easy to look on and work at, Let's get the tiki bucket, see if we can find a couple bolts to fit in that. That seems fine there. But those will hold that shield in place. That's all we need. It's much more secure than it was, and that'll be one less thing rattling around in my ear. So let's grab that 5/16 and this. We'll put this valve cover back on. Anyway, let's plop that on there. And like I said, I got to get this fitting back out and rotate it. I didn't know what I was doing when I was putting these in. Make sure that one's in there real good too. So the bottom one's fine. We just got to reseat the top one. Yeah, look at that. I got an oil cap. How about that? So go around and seat them. Then you can go around one last time and snug them down. Snuffle up, I guess. So what we have here is a little cable clamp out of a Harbor Freight set, and I'm wondering, is it possible that, are we lucky enough that I can just weasel this onto there, like that, plug that in where it goes, direct this over to there, bloop. That seems like a winner to me. Let's get that nut out of there. Slack on that bolt. Alright, so let's do a little rerouting. So I need all the mustard I can get on this dog here. There, that just gave me a whole world of slack that I can use just by doing a simple reroute. Sometimes you gotta reroute your stuff, boys and girls. So now, this is how this ended up. I put that little holder there. This is the original hold down for the throttle. Now let's try to pull the choke. And what we want is, the choke is this one here on top. We want that to pull this closed. Bam. So we're fully closed, fully opened. Somebody pull this out. So like I said, you got to get in there with your teeth and do it. Don't try that at home, kids. I actually pulled that whole thing out of there. That part's supposed to stay in there. But yeah, you know, that's the kind of stuff that I like to do, is put things in the wrong way the first time, and then have to use two very sharp screwdrivers in very close proximity to my own mouth. Now this one, if we could get it to kind of drift down that way, I think that would be nice. So let's try that. And just get it where we want and jam it home. Alright, so I think that'll be fine there. I drilled this side through on the first try for the pinhole. No problems whatsoever. Got down to this side and was trying to put a pinhole through it, more towards the top, and I broke literally 5 or 6 drill bits off in this thing trying to drill a hole through it. So I finally gave up on that after wasting a couple hours of time. Well, you notice now it's got a nut on it. Now that nut is on there super crooked, but it's on there. So basically what I ended up doing yesterday, the last thing I did, I took a tap and die set from Harbor Freight, cheapest one they make, guaranteed. Probably cheapest one on the planet. But I took a tap and die set and I cut some threads on this rod itself, and then I used the same size tap, and this nut was originally tapped to a different size. I re-tapped it to the size that fits this. Now this is as far as I can get it to go on, and that's okay, because I needed my pinhole I was trying to drill. I don't know if you can see that, but it's basically right under where the nut is. So that should be fine, and that way I can kind of save on that. I had bought some more material to make this again, and I just don't want to waste this if we could make use of it. So I think that nut will be fine. This stuff isn't under a great deal of tension or stress. It just kind of has to hold it together. So, and that's on there really good. It took me a great deal of effort to get that to twist on there that far. So I know it's not going to come off. What we have here are some different nylon spacers, and basically I bought these nylon spacers for other things in the project. I don't even remember what for now, and I'm intent on using them. Now we're going to have to blow the hole out on that a little bit. Actually, it's pretty much a perfect fit, but I'll run a bit through it. But basically what I'd like is for this to go through there, and then get a pin in it. So basically what I did was make two brackets out of some of that leftover aluminum diamond plate, and I used those brackets to hold the oil cooler cord kind of deal to this metal frame here, and then I just used a couple bolts and some nylon spacers to kind of space the fan up just a little bit so there's no interference there. So what I'm going to do now is just run, I made a little plate to kind of go over the bottom of this out of that diamond plate. I pre-drilled 2 holes for these self-tapping screws, so shouldn't have to fight those hopefully too much. You can see fan runs. Now I did in this circuit for this, I did have the potentiometer in there, and I was able to control the speed a little bit, but it started to smell like the potentiometer itself was getting hot and started to smell like burning. So I was like, you know what, let's just take that out of there. And so we just got 1 speed, and it's high, but it's fine. Alright people, welcome back. So batteries kept dying on the cameras, had to plug along without you, and I have made a lot of progress. So let's start up here. Hydraulic cylinder is in. Quick disconnects are connected. Hoses are connected. Hoses are a little long. Maybe we could get shorter ones someday, but probably won't. Those should be fine. Got my nut on up here. What you can't see under this nut is there's a nylon sleeve that passes through this ball looking socket thing. Anyways, that connecting rod passes through the nylon sleeve, and then the nut holds it in place. And the other end of the connecting rod goes over here and has 2 nylon washers on it, one on the bottom, one on the top. And what I'm hoping for with these nylon parts is to eliminate a little friction. If we manually turn this, we can see that that's about full boat that way, and then if we go this way, it's going to max out something like that, I believe. Somewhere's in there going that way. I think it probably will. You know, we don't know the full travel on this thing yet, but now that I got the lines hooked up, it's much easier to turn this hydraulic cylinder than it was. It was under vacuum. But that's the basic action on that. And you can see this guy down here, every time I turn it, it's kind of rotating around a little bit. So once we test it out, I'll find my grease gun and we'll grease everything. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's going to work there. And so you can see the hood is on and down and in. The paint job I did on it looks absolutely awful, but who cares? You know, it's a garden tractor. But let's pop the hood back open for a minute, and I'll show you a couple things I did down there. The chute kind of has to be pointed straight to get the hood all the way open. That's just how it is. Now, remember I said I was going to rewire these original headlights, and I intended to do that and started out doing it. I ran a power wire from the switch all the way up here, comes down travels under there. I got it zip tied in a couple places, and it comes up here and it ends there. Okay, and then for the ground, for the power for these lights, we're just going to take ground off of the chassis. But the problem is, if you look at these lights, the terminals are all busted off. So what I did was just zip tied my wires up out of the way for the time being, and I ordered 2 new lights that have terminals on them. Here, new valve cover, new actual oil hole instead of that pipe plug thing. Got that taken care of. New fuel pump, new fittings. Threw a fuel filter on this bad boy, believe it or not. First time it's had a fuel filter in over 10 years. Up here, this is my choke cable. I got functional choke now. Air filter's in. The plate that goes under it's in. I made a new breather tube that goes between the breather and that plate underneath, and that all fits together snugly. What else did I do? The gas tank's back in place. I added some of that rubber edging to the bottom of this gas tank bracket just to kind of protect that a little bit better. And I think that's about it as far as what I've done today. Let's get the dog hair off the end of the funnel. Yeah, we'll use my nice new funnel. Throw some Earl on this guy. Yeah, we'll let that run down for a minute, and then we'll see where we're at on the old dipstick. Let's see where we're at now. It says we are at the full mark right now, so that looks good. We'll give that a paper towel wipe and verify again. So basically we got to check the engine oil, got to check the hydraulic fluid. I'm sure that's going to need topped up. So we're actually probably about 1/8 of an inch above the full mark, but that's going to be okay because, like I said, we know there's no oil in that oil cooler. So we should be good on oil, at least enough to test everything out. You guys know about the dome light, and I've actually been using it to illuminate the cab in here while I'm doing stuff, you know. It lights everything up pretty good. You got a couple little dark spots down by your toes, but other than that, you know, you can see if there's any mice currently in here or whatever. But that works great. But I can't find the footage where I showed you the strobe. So that's the strobe light. I basically just screwed it to the thing. I stole power from the dome light. I just ran a wire up through the framing fret, and I caulked around it. I'm sure it looks awful, but yes. So we got dome light and strobe light there. And it's funny because I'm so short I can't see the strobe light from the ground, so I got to get up here and look at it. I mean, I've seen worse looking things. And then let's bring these pistol Pete's or whatever these are. Slippery Pete. I know that little one's not going to work, so I might as well just leave that in there. But let's bring this bigger one over here. And see if it will adapt to this big jug of hydraulic fluid I picked up. Because if it does, boy, would that make it convenient to repump this rear end. Because this, we're going to take this plug out here, and if I remember correctly, it's just a 1/2 inch ratchet you plug in there. Yeah, we'll open this up. Oh, it's only 3/8. I lied. It's just a little guy. But I knew it just took a ratchet. Maybe we need a little extension on there. Yeah, let's open this up, and basically what you do is you fill this until there's fluid dumping out of it. Now I wanted to reach under here, and I still might actually real quick. And I wanted to see if I could hand tighten the filter. Because it looked like it might be leaking out of there a little bit. Now this should not be under pressure, and it should not spill out. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's low. It's very low. So basically that needs a lot of juice, and that it seemed like it was low when I was driving it because it was whining pretty loud. And if I remember correctly, that's how you do this, is you basically just fill this until fluid's dumping out the back, and then you put the plug in. And if that's not how you do it, well, at least we know we'll have plenty in there, right? So So let's see what we can do with this configurational here. So this is that same brand, VP Racing, and this is their J20A Plus Ultra Utility Tractor Fluid. And that's exactly what we have here. Here's the utility tractor, so I think this is made for us. I'll open up this slippery Pete. Oh wow, they give you a nice big Ziploc that it comes in that you can reuse. Wow, look at that, folks, it goes right on there. Now, do we need another down tube though, or what's going on here? Hey, Slippery Pete, I like you already. Yours cool. Does that need to be tight though? Or is that just free flow? Guess that just free flows. Okay. Now, what do we got here? What's this? It's like a holder apparatus. How about that? Boy, Slippery Pete, you thought everything. And so, like I said, we're just gonna fill on that until it comes spilling back out of there, and then we'll run it for a while. We'll run all the hydraulics and then check it again later. I don't know, I mean, it might take this whole thing. I recall this system taking a lot. And this is working great. I can hear it trickling in there. Oh, there we go. Full up to that level. Let's go ahead and get the plug back in it. Yeah, that seemed like it was pretty low, so hopefully it performs a little better as far as drivability. So it just seemed, and probably, you know, because it had sat for so long, it just seemed like it was having a harder time getting around than it used to. But this was a, what is this, a 2 gallon? So we are full up to there. So we basically used from like here to there to there. So it was kind of sort of pretty low. Now, Slippery Pete, how do we get the remaining fluid out of the pump and back into the jug? Are you capable of that? Oh yeah. Nice. This thing is awesome. This thing is awesome. So yeah, if you don't have a Slippery Pete and you're doing stuff like this, go ahead and get yourself one. I'll give you 2 thumbs up for a job well done with an inexpensive product. And the only mess I made was by letting the oil overfill, which is basically that's the fill procedure for this particular application, so there's not much you can do about that. Yeah, like I said, they even give you a nice heavy resealable pouch to put your Slippery Pete back in. And so really the only garbage from their product is this thing you have to pop off to get to it. So good on them for being kind of environmentally responsible too. Here's a couple more of those broken drill bits. Yeah, I was just tearing through drill bits trying to drill that stupid connecting arm out. This is one of those gas tanks that everyone hates. Gas cans. I'm not going to put a ton of gas into it, maybe just like a quarter tank or so. So we got to check for leaks, you know. Yeah, the seat feels a lot more solid now. This is the first time I've sat in it. For some reason it feels like it's up a little higher than it was. Yeah, I'm just imagining that. So we're going to break a couple pumps. That's in. Let's go ahead and give it some choke. Fuel on. Let's see what it does. Almost fired it that's how the headlights turned out, and I'm very happy with them. They have pretty much the same color light output as the lights at the top, so that's good, and they do appear to be pretty bright. Just to kind of, basically what I'm trying to do in this area is just keep the wiring as far away from this exhaust as possible, because I know this thing gets very hot. I put one of those rubber clamper bolter on her doodads there, and that's going to hold the wire there, give it a little slack so it can open and close. I didn't leave a lot of slack there because I don't want a lot of slack there, but it's enough so that it can hinge. And then I just ran the positive up to the top terminal on this, and then I used crimp fittings in all locations except for this one, because that was on a factory end there, so I just used it. But I used those crimp fittings for the terminals, and then I used those shrink wrap fittings just to kind of seal them up. And you can see I didn't heat them enough to melt the solder. I was just kind of using them for convenient pieces of shrink wrap there. Real quick, let's shut these lights off before neighbors call the cops. This man is binding us. I'm just kidding, I don't even have neighbors. To just mock some different stuff up here, potentially, so that I can comprehend what is happening with this thing and why it will not wipe snow off of my windshield. I mean, I don't feel like I'm asking much. I literally just made a hydraulic chute rotator with hammers and small blowtorches in my garage like B.A. Baracus, and you mean to tell me that I can't make a windshield wiper function? You know? No, we don't want this up here. That much we know. So let's loosenate this. Let's rotate this down. Okay. Downward dog. Let's throw a piece of tape on here and just see what it do. Windshield wiper, windshield wiper, windshield wiper, windshield wiper. Let's pretend that this one's the blade. Why pretend? Make it so. Alright, so that's the blade. Now let's say that we pick the blade up like that. We get a sprig of masking tape here. Should you bite masking tape? I don't know.
Windshield wiper. Windshield wiper. Windshield wiper. Windshield wiper.
Okay, well, wait a minute here. Ideally, I would like to have this area here wiped off, which does it matter? No. Alright guys, if this works, I will buy each of you a pony. I can't afford a pony right now, so we'll have to put it on layaway. Bam! That could be an indication that things didn't go quite as planned. That thing on there. Might as well make it look sharp, man. Alright, shield your eyes, children. What's it doing? Well, how did it look so much cooler and more right when it was made of cardboard? I'm going to go way too far that way, way too far this way. Length is not the answer, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, I don't know. I failed, the guys. I failed again miserably. Cardboard did nothing. Steel does nothing. The wiper does nothing. I gotta go in and feed my dogs. I think I might finally have this windshield wiper situation figured out. Now, it's taken me some time to get to the bottom of what's going on around here, but I think I finally got it. Now, you'll see that we have yet a different windshield wiper motor here. You know, when Bezos sends you this thing in a box with a weird smiley swoosh on it, It comes with a wiper arm, as you can see dangling here near the Bermuda Triangle. But what they don't tell you is that that wiper arm has angles, curves, it has springs, and it's not going to work on a custom project of such high integrity as this. So what we're finding here, through a lot of math and a lot of science, is that none of this is going to work at all. Let's pretend that is an arm, okay? And I can't make a windshield wiper work, guys. A simple windshield wiper can't make it work. But I know the key is now, and I've said this before about the old windshield wiper motor, but now I know the key is just making a different bracket to change the orientation. We can't even use this one. This one, I cut the end of it off. It's bent. That one's done. Some science help us out. Can science help us, please? So it's about 4:14 a.m. on a work night. I was laying up there trying to get some sleep, and it occurred to me, get this wiper going. And so what I think I need to do here, and what I think needs to happen, I just need to make a bracket coming off of this that holds the wiper in a different angle. I think the key here is all in the angles, and we don't have the right ones yet. So I'm going to get going on that. I'm going to have another couple cups of coffee first, and then get going on this wiper motor. So stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to Triple Houndstooth Media Productions. My name's Mark. I'm your host. Burning the midnight oil. Burning something. Something was burning, I'll tell you that. That much I can assure you. I don't care. You know, do I look like a man that cares right now? Alright folks, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. So, you know, here at the old Triple Houndstooth, we're big animal lovers. Dogs, of course, love them. But I caught wind that this little gal here was in need of a home over the Thanksgiving weekend. And so, after some careful consideration and thinking about it, I decided, you know what, we can give that little girl a home. And so this is Dolly. She was named by her previous caretakers, and she is a Belgian Malinois. I'm trying to socialize her a little more. Also trying to get her in the mix with the other 3 dogs. Peace, sucker.